Hey everyone, welcome to episode 87 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here today with Taylor West and Stephanie Simon from Austin, Yeehaw, Texas.
Yeehaw.
Welcome, you two.
Thanks.
Thank
Glad
you.
to be here.
Yep.
Yeah, so we are here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. How long have you been here?
Going on a month.
Okay,
Yep.
Nice. What do you think so far?
I love it. It's really nice.
We could call this home.
Yeah.
Really
it's
cool.
a really accommodating city for nomads. So and coming from Austin, which is similar to that, it just feels it was an easy transition.
100%. So in today's episode, I do want to talk a little bit about Austin, the scene, versus Chiang Mai.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of similarities, kind of what's the pros and cons of each. I also want to talk a little bit about business. You guys used to work for some kind of funny companies, and then now you guys are freelancing and doing really well with that. So let's start with some background. What were you guys born and raised in Austin, or?
Yeah.
No, you want to?
Yeah, I'll start. So I was born in Panama, but I'm very American. I grew up in the U.S. my entire life. I'm from the Midwest, Chicago, and I moved to Austin, Texas about 3 years ago, and that's how I met Taylor. Yep, it was actually when I was still working in the affiliate marketing world, and we had mutual friends in that space, so that's how we met.
I got to Austin about 7 years ago, implanted from, I say San Diego. I was in San Diego for about 6 years prior, but I actually directly came from Seattle. I was born in Washington State, and I spent a little bit of time in Seattle before I came to Austin, so that's where I came from. But,
Why'd you go to Austin?
It's kind of a long story. I met a girl while I was in Seattle for the short time I was there, and we had a kid together.
Okay.
And her whole family was in Texas, and at the time they were in Houston. And by the time we decided to make the trip down to Texas, they had moved to Austin, and so we decided to go to Austin. We visited there first to see if we liked it, and loved it, fell in love with it immediately. So moved there, and
I can see why. I've only been to Austin for, I think, maybe a 3-week trip. It wasn't super long, but it was enough time where I knew I really liked it.
Yeah.
And if I had to move back to the US right now, I would move to Austin.
yeah,
Oh, I think you would,
along with everybody else.
Yeah, you've built such a great scene here in Chiang Mai. It's obvious that this feels comfortable to you. If you like Chiang Mai, then you'll love Austin. I mean, Austin is like the twangy, like southern, like version of Chiang Mai, you know. So, but yeah, I picked Austin because it's also, in case anyone's wondering, one of the top 5 cities in the entire country for being single. And so when I moved there, I was single, and I thought, yeah, meet some southern boys, whatever. But no, it's a great party town, very lively.
So
good
instead
social
you met
scene.
this guy from
I
Seattle.
met this guy from Seattle.
Technically, I'm from Spokane, but
Okay.
I came down from Seattle.
Well, that's actually, it's funny, is in San Francisco, it's probably one of the worst places to be single for a man, at least.
For a man, yeah.
But you know what? All the women I've met that have lived in San Francisco, they didn't really enjoy the dating scene. And I think it's because even though the guys are rich and they're very smart, a lot of them just weren't very...
They're douchebags.
yeah. They won't. Yeah, or they just
kidding.
they were too into tech and too into startups, maybe even too into themselves, and not as much into, like, I don't know. Let's say being like a manly, passionate, guy.
Maybe a little too much ego.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Austin is probably a good place to actually be kind of more level-headed.
Well, it's a really
people.
relaxed
Yeah.
environment. It's kind of slow like Chiang Mai. Life doesn't move very quickly. People just sort of sit around. It's hot. I don't know if that's why, because it's also hot like Chiang Mai.
Very hot.
So because of that, it just...
It actually
people
drove me
lounge
nuts.
around.
Yeah.
Here it's like everyone drinks their Thai teas, and in Austin it's we have sweet tea. So it's like very similar. There's so many similarities. You just kind of lounge around. You do work in cafes. Most people also work from their laptops. Although there are a lot of offices. Like a lot of great companies have moved their headquarters, or not headquarters, but they have great offices in Austin too.
Yeah, that slow lifestyle kind of drove me crazy when I first moved to Austin. I had spent so much time in Southern California, and everybody drives over the speed limit, and they have somewhere to go, somewhere to be, someone to see. When you go to like a business meeting as an entrepreneur, or like an investment meeting or something, everybody dresses nice, and it's very business-like, and you get to Austin and everybody drives 10 miles under the speed limit, and 10 miles an hour under the speed limit, and the traffic is horrible, and there's so many people moving there, and not enough like freeway lanes, and good transportation there.
And so you're saying that Austin's good for like tech startups, but what about like just the digital nomad, the solopreneur, someone who's just work for themselves?
Yeah, so the cafe scene per capita is more dense here in Chiang Mai than it is in Austin. So if that's something that's really important to you, like if you want to have, if you love how you walk a block in Chiang Mai and you find 3 cafes, you're not necessarily going to find that in Austin.
We do have a great cafe scene there.
Yeah, they're great. They're just a little bit more sparse and spread out. That being said, though, it's still very the co-working space. There are more co-working spaces in Austin, and they're fantastic. One of them is called WeWork, and
Capital Factory.
Yeah, and they're just Capital Factory is the really big one, and they're like very, very, very well supported. I mean, there's like a roster of every month. There's like 40 or 50 or 60 events that you can go to that are being sponsored by like big companies, like really famous people come in all the time. It's, if you're really into co-working scenes, like the co-working scene there is great.
That's cool. So what are these events like?
So they're kind of educational, like the coffee club, the Nomad Coffee Club here in Chiang Mai. But I think they're
hundreds of those types of events in Austin.
There's
everything from like Ruby developers, Java, every kind of developer that you can imagine has its own dedicated meetup. And then even like once a year, they have something called a web bash. It's just before Christmas, and it's held at one of these downtown bars, and it completely takes over the whole place. It's like over 1,000 people go to this thing. And it's basically a combination of all of the web development and tech meetups that are in town. They all come together for like a holiday party. And it's just insane. It's like open bar for 2 hours. But it's like if you're into tech startups, funded or bootstrapped, entrepreneurship, I would say Austin has the edge. There's just more there.
There is more. Yeah,
it's like the next Silicon Valley there. But if you're like a solopreneur or trying to bootstrap and get your company off the ground or something like that, I was actually going to write a blog post soon about Austin versus Chiang Mai and why you should move your startup to Chiang Mai, because it just doesn't make sense to pay the kind of prices that you do for the support system in Austin when you could start your company in Chiang Mai, have almost all the same kind of feel of the community here, but have a tenth or less of the pricing for everything. I mean, for working, for living, your whole team can live a lot cheaper. It's just kind of amazing here for that. I would love to start a company here. And then if it gets really big and you want to move it back, move it back to America when you have the funding.
Yeah. Well, I think, so for networking purposes, I think Austin it beats Chiang Mai.
Far,
hands down. There's just, like Taylor was touching on, the community is insane. I mean, like, whereas here I feel like there's the Thai locals and then there's this nomad community. A lot of people are either traveling or working for themselves. In Austin, I feel that everyone I come across is building something. They're building something that's supposed to change the world in that respective industry.
Yeah. But let me ask you this. How many of them are building non-profitable companies that are just in hopes to get acquired?
Yeah, it's kind of like going to New York and wanting to be an actor. Like, I feel like everyone wants, or everyone has this dream and they're hoping that their startup is going to be the one that's going to get funded and be the next big thing
or get acquired.
Or get acquired or something like that. How many of them actually end up succeeding at that? I think there's actually a decent percentage, but no, not everybody, of course. That being said, everyone's on a mission. Like, you're all in it together, and so it's great if you are trying to build like a bigger company for networking purposes. But if you're trying to cut costs, I think you can develop a great support system here in Chiang Mai.
So if everyone is has their own like dream and mission, are they very supportive to like help each other, or are they a little bit more secretive? And
No, I think in Austin it's not. I haven't really spent a lot of time in the San Francisco tech scene, to be honest, so I can't speak from experience, but from the friends that I have and the startup guys that I know in Austin, I know that San Francisco is a lot more like that. Austin is very open and supportive for the most part. If you want to meet somebody that you think could benefit your startup in some way, you can do that. I mean, you can meet the CEOs of some of the biggest companies in Austin. They don't hide, they're out with everybody else, and
they're
it's
usually
a very
pretty
relaxed.
young.
Yeah.
They're usually our age. I mean, some of these CEOs that are incredibly $1 million companies, they're like our age, and they'll be wearing like a band T-shirt and like shorts, and they'll be drinking at the local bar. And the thing is you would normally have no idea. I mean, that's another thing about Austin. Like, I feel like in San Francisco, California, and stuff like that. I don't know this for a fact. I don't. because I haven't experienced that, but like it's really casual. You can't tell who's got a ton of money and who doesn't, who's the CEO and who isn't. Everybody looks like each other. It's very casual.
Yeah, it's a very supportive. To answer your question, it's very supportive in Austin.
Yeah.
Like if you need help, you can find help in almost any respect. If you need money, you can find people to connect you to money. If you need, the only thing that's really hard anywhere right now over there in the US is developers. Like if you need developers, good luck. They're there, but you got to convince them to work for you or ditch what they're doing because there's just a huge shortage.
That makes sense. So this is a good time to learn how to code.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot of really talented developers here in Thailand.
There are. That was actually one of the things that I was going to say about that blog post that I was talking about Austin versus Chiang Mai when bootstrapping, is that I can't prove this. It's kind of just a gut feeling that I have. But from who I've rubbed shoulders with so far in the last month and the meetups that we've gone to and the people that we've met and the connections that we've made, I feel like if I started another company tomorrow, I could find a developer the next day.
Yeah.
Here in Chiang Mai.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Somebody would be on board with me.
Either someone from somewhere in the world, in the Western world, or if you can find someone who speaks Thai.
Yeah.
There are, there are a lot of Thai developers that they don't know how to get connected with like American companies. Actually, there's a guy named Christian. He's a guy from Poland. Super talented developer. Like way smarter than my American friends. And I know this because they ask him for help and he's blown away at how good he is. But he's working for Polish wages still.
Oh,
and we keep saying to him, like, dude, just work for an American company. And he's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't know how to get connected.
Yeah.
So people like that, you guys can swoop up and be like, all right, you know what? what do you make in Poland?
Yeah.
How many potatoes do you get an hour? Double it.
Oh, that's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We met a web developer a couple weeks ago that works he's Irish and he works out of Ho Chi Minh City usually for the last 5 years, and he doesn't make a ton of money. He would go in on something with us, I'm sure, and it's not, I think it's the difference in like why people are in the place that you're at. So like when you go to Austin, everybody's there in the community for the same reason. They're all starting something or wanting to work for somebody who's starting something, and it's super competitive and the wages are really big, and it's just this competition, whereas when you travel to a nomadic place like Chiang Mai, everybody's here traveling and they're all freelancers doing their own thing, and so they have time or they have availability to jump on board with you if you have a great idea. It's a totally different like reason for being here, right? And so that makes it available.
That definitely makes sense. And I think also on the flip side for that is, unfortunately, because most people's priority is traveling first and then building or making money second, it's also harder to get people who are super dedicated.
Yeah, that's true.
Because people might be dedicated for a month or two and then they're like, oh, somebody's going down an island to go diving? Okay.
Yeah. I could see that being a big problem.
No, that's a point I was going to make.
Yeah.
In Austin, the city it has a great community instruction, so because of that, people are willing to camp out for however long it is. Like they'll live years and years in Austin and they won't leave.
Yeah.
So if they get presented with an opportunity to build a startup that is going to require double time, full-time schedules, and they're just working 12, 15 hours a day or something like that to chase this dream, they're willing to do that. And I do think that, I agree with you, Johnny, I think it would be way harder to get that in Chiang Mai because people here are solopreneurs for a reason. I mean, as talented as they are, they've made a very defined decision to not take that job offer with a great company somewhere, even if it costs them good health insurance and a higher paycheck or whatever. They're willing to risk trying to do it on their own, a little like making some passive income on their own, or hustling clients just so that they can have freedom. And that freedom is really, really important.
Because that freedom is priceless.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't put you can't put a price tag on that.
Yeah. But that's also why so many big companies are starting to move towards distributed workforces. So if you're a talented team leader, entrepreneur who can put together a team and make it work in a distributed style, then you might be able to attract some of these traveling developers and keep it together even if they travel around. Like WordPress, for instance, they don't have an office. I mean, they might have a small office, but I think over 90% plus of their workforce is all over the world. And they meet once a year for, like a big party. But a lot of companies are going that way, and I think you could probably build something like that here if you went about it the right way.
I think there's a huge open potential in Chiang Mai to build communities.
Yeah.
So you guys spoke at my Nomad coffee meetup, which has been going on every Friday for the last 6 weeks.
It's getting big since we've been here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like literally from the very first week, we had, I think, 20 or 30 people show up.
Yeah.
And every week since then, the place has been so crowded that people can't sit standing room only every single week.
Yeah.
And I even try to kind of have like very specific topics, so not everyone will show up and not everyone will be interested, but still every week like
there's still new people.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And all it took was making a Facebook group which got we got our first 100 members in like a week. Just because people were in Chiang Mai, they want to meet each other. Most people came here because they hear about this great community, and then they're like, okay, well, I'm here now, where is everyone? Because everyone's working at different coffee shops. People are coming and going, so you might make like 1 or 2 friends here, and then they leave and you're like, okay, now what?
Exactly. Yep.
So by having this group, it just kind of brings everyone together in person. And I think people can do this for web development, or as for really any kind of niche within this.
I agree.
I'm as excited about the topics that happen every week as I am about going out and having drinks and food with everybody afterwards, because like you said, you come to a new place like this and you want to connect like as fast as possible. If there's a few exceptions, we know a few people that are kind of hermits. But
No, and I agree, and everyone's trying to swap secrets, like what's working for you, and what can I borrow from your business and apply it to my own. We're all chasing the same dream. Our dream is a little different than the Austin dream. Our dream here is to have the freedom to travel. Anyone that's coming to Chiang Mai, for the most part, that's not a Thai person, they just want to travel. So however that we can support each other in that capacity is great.
Well, we always preach like learning from the best, or learning from the people that are living the kind of lifestyle that you want to live. And so when we went to look for a place to study or to put our heads down and work really hard, we thought, well, where are the people in the world that are doing what we're doing at the level that we want to do it? And what kind of life are they living? And is that the kind of life that we want? Absolutely. And so we found, like, right now, she and I are copywriting, as we spoke about yesterday. And we found that there were several copywriters in Chiang Mai that were doing very well for themselves, traveling around the world, running their clients really well and efficiently and making really good money. So we wanted to come rub shoulders with those guys, figure out how they did it.
I like it. So yesterday's talk, for everyone who missed it, sorry about that, you have to be in Chiang Mai for it. But it was about how to attract, I guess, higher paid clients freelancing. And the both of you do copywriting, and then there was a third guy on the panel who is actually a web developer, but he, I guess, also technically is a freelancer. So what's cool is every week what we've been doing is just in the group we'll just say, hey, what do you guys want to know this week? And people will just randomly vote and say, freelancing, or someone wanted something about taxes, and someone else wanted Udemy courses, affiliate marketing. Just every week has been different. And this week it was freelancing, and then all we say is, okay, who's making a full-time living from this that can speak about it? And just you, this guy, some other people just replied saying, hey, we're doing pretty well, happy to share. And what's so cool about it is, instead of it being like a seminar style, we've made it into more of like an open-ended Q&A.
It's like an AMA.
Ask me anything.
Yeah.
And no one's held anything back, which is so cool. Like, people would literally could have asked you anything yesterday, and you would have just told them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And every week's been like that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's great. Yeah.
It's so cool.
Knowledge sharing. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for most weeks, usually there's like 3 people on the panel. I think the only time it was just me was that first week, because I wasn't really sure how it was going to go yet. And then last week, when people wanted specifically to know more about the way I do affiliate marketing, so it didn't make sense to have more than one person up there. But that video is actually completely live and up, and it's free. So I'll link to that in this episode, which is episode 87.
Definitely worth a watch for sure.
Yeah.
Especially for anybody that has a blog or a personal property that wants to monetize it, because a lot of people are lost on that subject. So.
And what was really cool for me is I realized like what the actual audience for my course is. And I realized it's not people who are specifically searching for affiliate marketing. It's for people who want to start a blog and figure out a way to monetize it.
Yep.
So I'm gonna actually kind of rebrand Earnest Affiliate a little bit to make that a little bit more clear. Like if you want to start a blog and you want to learn how to make money from it, this is the course.
Yeah. You're looking for people who want a personal brand. You know, they want to increase their personal brand somehow, whether they have a travel blog or, you know, they write about whatever. That's your target market, I think.
I got it. I like it. So you two used to work for, was it just you, Stephanie?
It was just me, yeah.
You worked for some type of affiliate company, aka porn site.
Yeah, I did. And, you know, it was, the one perk of it was that it was a great conversation starter at meetups. Most people would not assume by looking at me that I worked for a gay black porn site.
Oh, you work in porn?
Yeah. Yeah. They'd be like, well, you know, I'd always have to like dance around the subject. You know, you go to a meetup and people are like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I work in affiliate marketing. And they'd be like, oh, fantastic. What kind of affiliate marketing? And I'm like, adult affiliate marketing. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's a porn site. And they're like, oh, interesting. What kind of porn? And then I'd have to explain that it's a gay black porn site. And, you know, obviously I'm not the face of that. So, I mean, most people would not assume that that's what I was doing, but I was.
To be fair, it was a tech startup. It was a tech bookmarking site, like a video bookmarking startup.
I'm going to go ahead and plug my Vidster right now. My Vidster. I knew So my Vidster was run just by this guy, completely built on PHP. He did it out of like his basement, basically. And he built this video curation site to bookmark videos and collect them in one place. And it kind of spun out of his control a little bit. He found that people were bookmarking porn videos because there weren't any restrictions like you would have on YouTube. And so because of that, he decided to roll with it, and he found that specifically they weren't just booking porn videos, they were booking gay black porn videos. And so he decided to go to affiliate marketing and start monetizing off of that. Okay. And I was one of his first employees. So
very nice.
Yeah.
So how did he monetize these videos?
So he would sell ad space. He was having completely organic traffic. He wasn't doing any advertising. And
I don't think he does still.
Yeah, he still doesn't do any advertising. He has over like 1 million users.
He just crossed 1 million users a few weeks ago.
That's crazy. And how did he get... So I'm sure now that it's big, people like verbally talk about it or people message about it.
Well, within the community. Yeah. A lot of people outside of like the gay black community don't really know about my Vidster because he's not advertising. But it's very organic within the community that it caters to.
So how do you think they actually got started with their like first couple thousand viewers?
You know, that's probably a better question for Marcus to answer. But I mean, did he ever tell you how? He
said it was a slow start.
I know it was a very slow start. It wasn't like
he built it not thinking that it was going to really take off, and he put a solid year into it, 1.5 years before it really started to hit. You know.
It was basically hockey stick growth. It started out really, 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 really stable, and then it just shot up at the end like that, you know?
So I'm not a subscriber of myvidster.com.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure Johnny2045 is one of the most active usernames on there.
What was that when we walked into your apartment then?
Yeah. So I assume the reason why it did so well is because it was just a need. You know, he thought of something that wasn't really out there. There was no easy way to bookmark outside of just YouTube, and he created a need. And then people found a need, they created a niche, and now he's like, all right, well, this is now my niche.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think like, because he's not like a super well-known porn site, he doesn't have to deal with a lot of the bureaucratic bullshit just yet. I mean, he's already been banned from like Google AdWords and stuff like that. But like for example, the My Vidster app is something that you can download here in Chiang Mai, and you can access all of the video content without having to deal with any weird firewalls or anything like that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize this. Porn is illegal in Thailand.
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah, you can't access Pornhub. You can't access any porn sites here.
How do you know this?
What? But My Vidster, you can, and so it's still kind of under the radar, and he gets a lot of international traffic, actually, because, Thailand's not the only country that's like that. There's a ton of countries that prohibit porn, and because he's not technically a porn site, it works out. He gets a lot of traffic, organic traffic that way.
When we connected in China, we couldn't even get on Facebook or
Google.
Or
Yeah.
Google, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It really is insane. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's another reason why I don't like China.
I don't know how you lived there for a year. That's
I
crazy.
loved China. I loved it. Yeah, I would go back in a heartbeat. Although, you know, you just get some good VPNs and you're fine. You don't have to worry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but no, it's true. I do like that Thailand's a little bit more, slightly more open on the internet.
The only two things that are blocked in Thailand is dailymail.co.uk, which is, you know, basically, I don't know, I guess the Huffington Post. It's a news courier site from England, and I'm pretty sure what happened was they posted some negative stuff about Thailand or the government or something, and they're like, all right, you guys are blocked.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like the Inquirer back in the U.S.? Like, it's kind of like trashy news. Like,
it might be trashy news.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not from England, so I don't never actually read most of the articles.
Okay.
But, you know, a lot of times people, you know, a lot of these news sites now are more into clickbait than actual, you know, well thought out news. So maybe they wrote something they shouldn't have written. Maybe they were in the wrong. But
every time I see somebody post a Daily Mail article on Facebook or something, I'll see comments that say, "Come on, man, this is from the Daily Mail. You can't take this seriously."
Oh, is it? Okay.
You know, that kind of a thing. But I don't know. I'm not obviously from the UK, but yeah.
All right. But yeah, so that's blocked, and then all porn sites are blocked.
Yeah.
But you brought up a good point. You can use a VPN. I use Wetopia, and it works fine. So.
Yeah. We did some research just the other day because we wanted to get on some Amazon Instant.
Amazon Prime. We wanted to watch Amazon Prime. And
Hand of God.
Yeah, great.
Plug for that show.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So we are using private internet access.
Okay.
It's a very big player in the VPN space, and they have great servers, great speeds. We haven't had any problems with it at all. It's really good.
I like it. So there's always workarounds, especially when you're out here.
Yeah.
So that type of affiliate marketing is more just like ad based, where there's people put banner ads under the videos, people click it, someone gets paid.
Yeah. And I mean, there's tons of opportunities to do it as like a solo person too. You know, we were often dealing with people that were working just themselves. They were their own company, and they would find sites like MyVidster. They would figure out what demographic they needed to cater their ads to, and they would capitalize on that. And so
they would take out an ad on MyVidster and send users from MyVidster to some affiliate product or affiliate site.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The adult space has a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. I don't know too much about it, but I imagine some people are making a lot of money.
Yeah, they are. And actually, I tell this to people all the time who are interested in getting into the adult affiliate space. During my experience at MyVidster, I saw that really I feel like there's big money-making opportunity with live chat rooms. We kind of talked about this last time, but it's just, you know, there's a lot of free porn on the internet, and so it gets harder and harder to convince people to pay for it. And because of that, you know, when you have a live chat room where you're a viewer and you feel involved and you feel like it's almost like a choose your own adventure, you know, you have like some kind of control over what's happening, the likelihood of you paying money increases substantially. That's something you'll pay for because you have like a direct hand in it. And the affiliate programs associated with big sites like Chatterbait and live chat rooms and all sorts of stuff like that, they have great commission programs, like really great. You get a kickback every time someone signs up, but you also get a kickback of anything they spend in the chat rooms. And so if I were to go into adult affiliate marketing tomorrow, that's what I would focus on.
Yeah. Okay. We're actually looking at Periscope and the Meerkat craze right now, and how it's just you can start a Periscope right now, have 30, 40 viewers on it without having any Twitter account, like any followers. She posted a Periscope one night that just said, "Help me choose a Netflix movie," and she had 30 people, you know, instantly just talking about Netflix movies. Yeah. So, you know, when I first saw that happening, I went, "Oh man, this is a great platform if you wanted to be a Chatterbait affiliate or some kind of live cam porn affiliate. You take that audience that you can build on Periscope and Meerkat instantly without even having to have an audience, and you can funnel it into these chat programs because it's just a natural, you know, it's a natural way to do it."
So it sounds like let's say you're a good-looking girl, you know, and you're traveling, you want to make some money, you're like, okay, what can I do? You can go on Periscope. You can, you know, title it something like "Help me choose what to wear tomorrow."
Yep.
You get 30 or 40 people on right away, and assuming you're attractive, you're like maybe,
You know how to work the crowd.
work the crowd a bit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, should I put on this shirt now?
Yep.
Guys will get you interested.
Yeah.
And then in there, you would somehow mention like, oh, by the way, I'm on Chatterbait.
Yeah,
Sign
if you want to see more than just my closet. Yeah.
Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah, you got to think of a good angle to get them off of Periscope and onto your Chatterbait affiliate link. You know, you set up like a landing page that says like, I think I'm going to try this next week or something like that, and have them sign up for Chatterbait.
Okay.
You don't ever have to do it. You just got to get them to sign up.
Well, you know what? I guess I'm sure there's a lot of money actually working as a cam girl as well.
Oh yeah, tons.
There's decent. There's decent, but it's pretty competitive. And the thing is like, it really is personality based. Obviously, you have to have talent, just like you would have to have talent anywhere else. It's not even like you can get girls to do all sorts of crazy things on the internet, but can you get someone who it will like engage with their viewer to the point where they're smitten? You know. It's not about, I don't even think it's about how sexually talented you are. I think it's about your personality and can you talk and are you interesting?
Because you're basically working for tips.
Yeah.
So, it's virtual tips. They give you coins or something like that, and you get the lion's share of the coins, and the company or the affiliate gets the other share of the coin.
Yeah.
So. What's crazy is when I first got on the internet in like 1995, I was on AOL chat and I would hang out in the... in whatever chat rooms. I remember one was like Bay Area Asians. And I used to go on, because I was bored. I wanted to interact with people. I wanted to meet people. What happened to chat rooms?
They still have them. I mean, they still have them. I think they're more popular internationally than they are in the U.S. these days.
Got replaced by forums and social media.
Yeah, social media is really what really eclipsed it, I think. But you can still do it. There are still chat rooms that you can have anonymous screen names, and you can just chat with people, and they'll like pair you up with someone random, and you just start talking.
IRC is still a thing,
and then they show you their dick.
Yeah, there's chat roulette. That's still a thing. Yeah. I went on chat roulette with my best friend a few years ago, and no dicks were shown during our test. I swear.
Way.
No, we thought two girls like giggling every time someone new pops up on the camera. For sure, we're gonna get a dick. Nope, nothing.
You know what made it is? Maybe like
no dick.
That became so popular, and that every guy was like, okay, I'm gonna stop doing this because...
Well, I think mostly they were just surprised to see that there were actually girls on the other end. I think people are so used to seeing dudes just whip their dick out that they're like terrified what the next camera is going to bring. And then we would show up and they'd be like, oh my God, it's real girls. And then they would just get really excited that like nobody whipped it out, which was nice. Yeah.
No idea this talk was gonna come here.
Yeah, rated R. You're gonna have to put like a rated R on this podcast.
Well, technically, I don't think we've actually like swore, so I think it's actually okay.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Okay, so what if you're not a good-looking girl? How can you get into that same space? Like, you wouldn't be able to just make as a guy, I can't make a Periscope and then say, hey guys, check out this Chatterbait site that I found.
You just got to hire some girls.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing. If you're not a good-looking girl, you would do what any guy would do to make money. There's like no difference, right? So if you wanted to get into the affiliate space, you would do what a guy would do. He would hire girls to do this and be sort of serve as the middleman, and you would
like a pimp.
Yeah. You would be the woman pimp, exactly.
I like it. So you're now no longer in porn.
No, I was never in porn. Can I make that distinction on this podcast? I was never in the porn.
Stephanie Sultry.
No, it's supposed to be like the last name of the street. It's like the street you grew up on, like the name of your first pet. Mine would be Spiky Erie.
Mine's Stone Willie.
Oh, what's yours?
Mika Vicente.
Oh, whoa, exotic.
Pretty sure there's a porn star named Mika. So.
Yeah.
You got the new Asa Akira here.
Yeah.
Asa Akira.
All right, so now that you're out of
the
adult industry, what are you two doing now, and how'd you get into it?
Do you want to start?
What was I doing when you were in the adult industry? I don't even remember.
Oh, you were like selling vacuum cleaners.
Oh. No, I was running an Amazon business.
Yeah.
No, right now we're both actually doing kind of the same thing. We're freelance copywriting. So I've been a freelancer off and on between entrepreneurial ventures for the last 8 years. And I was kind of a jack of all trades, doing freelancing, consulting, and like graphic design, web design, content, strategy, writing, ghostwriting content for people, doing a little bit of copywriting, stuff like that. And I was just all over the map. And then recently I decided to niche down into copywriting, and actually Stephanie had kind of the same revelation. She loves writing and niched down into copywriting as well. So
yeah, I wasn't as all over the map as Taylor was. I'd always been involved in writing. But I found myself doing a lot of social media, and that's its own beast. But being a social media community manager, unfortunately, is just not as valued in the marketplace as far as compensation goes. Mm-hmm. They tend to work for pretty low wages. And so I just wanted to take it up to the next level and find a specific niche within writing that people were willing to pay pretty well for. And that's the thing, like copywriting is writing designed to sell, or designed to get some kind of information from you, whether it's to get your email address or it's to get the money in your bank account. And people are willing to pay for that. They're willing to pay higher wages for that.
That makes sense. I've actually met a lot of girls here in Chiang Mai who are social media managers. Mm-hmm. And I think the problems with their jobs that they either are getting overpaid or underpaid. There's almost nothing in between. And when I say that, I mean all the people who have been overpaid, it's because a company was like, well, I guess I need a social media manager. Mm-hmm. We should probably do this thing. Yeah. We don't really know what to pay, so here's some money. Mm-hmm. And what happens is pretty much every single one of those girls I met had, they kind of just coasted by. They probably didn't do that much work. They probably didn't actually add that much value to the company, or not enough to justify what they're paying. Mm-hmm. And after a few months, they got fired, or that position just got terminated.
Well, that's the thing. That was another thing about social media, is that social media is really a long-term plan. Mm-hmm. It's a long-term game plan. If you're going to invest in social media and pushing out great content, the chances that you're just going to you put up a Facebook page and you push out a few posts in that first week that's going to directly link to sales is not how that works. You have to build a community, and that takes a lot of time. And most people, when they're paying someone to increase their sales, don't have the patience to wait. ROI. Yeah, to wait to see that return on investment. So
it also takes a good strategy. Like, so many people do social media wrong.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
And so when you're trying to convince someone of the value that you bring to the company and you work in social media, it's really hard to be like, but this person liked my post, and we saw that they eventually visited the site even though it didn't directly result in a sale. The chances are, the truth is like, if someone likes a Facebook post, they're thinking about the company's top of mind. There's a chance like months down the road, when it comes down to it, they'll choose your company simply because they like your Facebook page and they like what you're pushing out. But it's hard to track that. Whereas with copywriting is very trackable. You see exactly the open rate on your emails that you're creating, and it's pretty easy to track whether someone clicked on a link within an email and then made the sale. And so because of that,
or opts in your email list.
Yeah, or opts into your email list or anything. And that's pretty awesome. Companies are willing to spend money on a great copywriter.
I could absolutely see that. And I was going to say the other side of social media is the people that are getting underpaid, where they, let's say they do this fantastic campaign. A lot of times with that same amount of work, they could have just created their own brand. Obviously they wouldn't be working for like, let's say, Coca-Cola or something, but let's say like a personal brand. And with that same amount of work, they could be making a ton more money.
Yeah.
So I almost don't think that like people with those skills would even want to stay in social media for that long.
Oh yeah. No, that's like my I'll plug a company now. My old roommate Joe, he started an e-commerce. Well, he bought an e-commerce site that sells like female alternative clothing, like corsets and things. And he started it with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend and him went into the Facebook side, the social media side of things, and they took it from like, I don't know, 30 or 40,000 likes or something. You did a little bit of work for them at one point.
30 to 40,000 likes to like 300,000.
No, I think they're over 400,000 likes now on their Facebook page, and a lot of their sales come directly from social media. It's a very, very good portion of their business. And somebody that did that same thing, like you said, for another company would be worth its weight in gold. But a lot of times they get super underpaid. They just don't, they don't know how to charge for it, or the company just doesn't value it as much as they should.
And that's the and that's the thing. They're not getting paid well enough, and so people do tend to abandon that. And and like, it's true. The minute I switched from social media to copywriting, within my first client, I immediately doubled the amount of money I was making. Doubled my salary. I didn't go and increase, I doubled it. Like, that's how, and I was starting out in copywriting and I was able to double it, which just shows you just the difference right there.
I've heard some crazy stories about how people will pay like $100,000 or even $10,000 for a sales page.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, some of these, like the great copywriters that, you study when you first break into copywriting, the money that they were making back in like the 1950s is still a substantial amount of money now. They were doing like $1 million contracts, and they would get copywriters usually, the more successful you become, they charge by the percentage. Mm-hmm. So, they're just like, hey, I'm going to write you this copy and I want a percentage of the amount of money that it ends up converting.
Or they'll JV on something,
yeah.
They'll JV on like a joint venture on a product and
you get a big enough client, that can equal some buku bucks, like big money. So, that's not something you see in social media. That doesn't happen.
I often tell, like, people say, why wouldn't you do affiliate marketing? Or since you know so much about affiliate marketing, how come you don't do affiliate marketing? And my response to that now that I'm into copywriting as deep as I am, is that I would rather be a copywriter for affiliate marketers. Screw the affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is like, in the general sense, like CPA campaigns, running ads, doing, ad buys and solo ads and stuff like that. It's a roller coaster ride. You could do $10,000 a day, and the next day your income shuts off, and that's just the world that you have to deal with when you're an affiliate marketer. But if you're a copywriter, you can have 10 different affiliate marketer clients that you're writing their sales pages for and taking 5-10% of sales or something like that, and you can steady your income out and make a very good living over time. Mm-hmm. So that's, I think that's a different way to attack the same world.
And you're also handing over a tangible product, so there's a strict beginning and an end to the work that you do. Whereas, like, if you're running a campaign, whether it's a social media campaign or it's an affiliate campaign, the work doesn't really end. You have to be checking in all the time. You have to constantly be adapting and doing all this. It's just, it can be a time commitment.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, because either you'd be working hourly or like a set wage, it's just an end. But if you're doing a sales page, you're like, okay, well, this is it.
Yeah, you shoot it over and you're like, all right, this is
Let me know when
you
want to test a new version of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. And I also do like how you brought up that people can track the ROI.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say right now on my course, Earnest Affiliate, I have one page that people will see when they get to it. Mm-hmm. I can very easily set it up so it'll show an alternative page.
Yes.
And the metrics are there. I can see, okay, this one converts higher, this one makes more sales, so I should use that one. Mm-hmm. And then we could test a third one and be like, okay, well, is this one better than the second one?
Yeah.
The only reason why I personally haven't done it, and actually, so I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm like, I know I can make both my sales page, I guess the actual page, the video on it, and then the email autoresponder much more salesy and convert better. So I can make a lot more money if I did that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, kind of knowing what works makes it feel so impersonal, and almost it feels like such a hard sell, and I just personally cannot get myself to do that.
That's interesting. So I would argue that great copywriting that converts does not mean that you have to become less personal and that you have to become more salesy. Mm-hmm. Actually, great copywriting is based completely on just catering to like basic human needs, and that's a very personal thing. If you can connect with someone on one of their basic human needs, if you're trying to sell like gun control courses or something, you're trying to show people how to like shoot guns and hunting, then you're gonna write in such a way that like caters to a demographic that wants to protect their family, because that's a basic human instinct is protecting. And so you're gonna use psychological words, you're gonna choose the right words, you're gonna speak in a tone of voice that actually connects with them very easily, that you're gonna speak their language, and then they're gonna trust you and they're gonna trust your product. The only time it becomes shady is if your product is not great, right? Then it's weird. But being able to use copywriting to like speak the language of the person that you're talking to and cater to them and get them to understand what you're trying to say, I don't think that's like impersonal at all.
That definitely makes sense. And I actually think as long as my product is good, and I don't want to make any weird, claims about, what's inside, I don't care why they sign up, as long as when they sign up, they're like, okay, this is an awesome product. So
yeah,
I'm glad I was convinced to buy it.
It's almost like, isn't it kind of like your duty if you have a great product to convince as many people to experience it as possible, you know? And if you have to use great copywriting methods to do that, if that helps you, I mean, yeah, that's great for you. You're selling more of your product. But if you have a great product and it changes people's lives and it helps them pursue their dreams, then that's even a better reason to have better copywriting.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. So what's funny is, actually, even just the podcast itself, there are little tips and tricks I can do to get more downloads, more user engagement, and just boost this up in the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them would be, at the end of this podcast, I'll, after I've known what we talked about, I can edit together some sound bites, or even just have me say, hey everyone, if you stick to the end of this episode, you'll get to hear what Stephanie Simon's porn name is.
Yeah.
And that'll get people to listen to the whole episode. But I just don't want to do that. I feel like personally that is, I almost live in this ideal world where I think my listeners know that every episode is going to have some golden nuggets, that they're really going to enjoy it, that they're going to listen to the whole episode regardless if I put these stay till the end to find out, little Easter eggs in the front.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that? I have a thought on that, but I'll let you go first.
My main thought is that your audience is listening to you and likes you for a reason already, and it's okay for you to ask them to do things, and they're not gonna hate on you for it. I understand what you're saying, and it's really hard sometimes to get over that. I don't want to ask. I don't want to it sounds so cheesy or salesy to ask, but as long as you just do it in your way, be Johnny, be Johnny FD and be the guy that they listen to all the time. They're not going to hate on you for saying, hey, I really want you to stick around till the end of the episode. And you'll be surprised, when you ask for something, your audience will give it to you a lot of times. You know? If you really want some kind of engagement to happen, just ask for the engagement.
If you're providing value, then asking something from your audience is okay. It's absolutely fine. I find that, in fact, when you're creating a really great autoresponder campaign, you want to make sure that you're asking from the start. You want to establish that this is a relationship where I'm providing you value. I'm going to scratch your back, you scratch my back a little bit. Let's help each other out, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And if you wait too late to ask, it just, I don't know. I feel like it becomes less effective.
I like it. Yeah. So on that note, if you guys are on an iPhone, you can click the podcast app, search for Travel Like a Boss Podcast, and you can give this podcast a 5-star review in the app. So I'm excited for that. Or if you have a Mac, I guess you could log into the iTunes application and give it a review.
How do you do it on Android?
That. You know what? I don't know how to do it on Android.
Okay.
I think, I'm sure it'll still help if someone was on, actually, what do you listen to podcasts on your Android?
I actually haven't started doing it on Android yet. We usually download ours for car trips and stuff, and
I listen to mine on an iPhone.
I usually have Stephanie download all the podcasts, and then we plug it into the car and listen to it on car trips and things like that. So
I think on an Android they would have to use an app like Stitcher or Podbean or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then on there they'll have their own rating system. And I definitely think that'll still help. So I do appreciate that people did that. Yeah. But I think iTunes is kind of the spot where that'll make or break your podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everything else is kind of just like a bonus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that is one thing that I do need more of, because I'm looking at my ratings, and it's because it's such a pain in the butt to actually leave a review on iTunes, and people just don't think of it because I never asked for it. Every month, it's only maybe, let's say, 2 or 3 reviews per month, when that could be a lot more because there's 20,000 downloads a month.
Yeah.
Well, what'd be interesting is incentivizing it in a really cool way, saying, go leave me a 5-star review, and in the review, vote for what you want to hear me talk about in the next podcast, or in the review, raise your hand as somebody who maybe I should interview in the next podcast, or something like that. Give your users some interaction in return for the review, maybe.
When you guys leave a review, make sure you nominate who you want as a guest, and I'll do my best to get them on.
There you go.
There we go.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So here's a crazy thing about this whole online world, is there are so many ways to make more money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many mental blocks that we have. I think so. When we get started, making that first $100 is the hardest part. And then, as you said, with freelancing, getting what you're worth or doubling your rate is so hard to do. But at the same time, the ceiling is so freaking high.
Yeah.
I mean, when you started freelancing, you said in your talk yesterday, how much did you start charging per hour, and what would you charge per hour now, and what's like the maximum someone's making an hour?
So I was just breaking in brand new. I didn't have a portfolio when I first started, and I used Upwork.com to kind of build that portfolio. And I used a very scientific method to start increasing my hourly rate. Even though I was getting paid way more than this, I went and I priced myself like Bangladeshi rates, $3, $5 an hour. I was like, okay, I'm going to put myself at $5 an hour. But I also offered a money back guarantee if they didn't like my work, and I promised them, sorry, I forget. I promised them that I was, a native English speaker, which is a great thing that you want to make sure you mention on your Upwork profile if you are a native English speaker. And I was just like, I'll do work for you at this rate, and I had an incentive. I said, I'm obviously way more qualified than the rate that I'm charging right now, but I'm trying to build a portfolio. That's your incentive to hire me right now and help me build that portfolio quickly. And so I got clients right away, and I had this, it was wonderful. I was able to get my 5-star reviews. I delivered incredible value, even at that bargain rate. And then I was like, okay, now that I've got some reviews under my belt, I can double this, and then I can triple this and quadruple this, and then just keep going.
So let's fast forward 2 years from today, in September 2017, what do you think you'd be worth it per hour?
God, I hope I can reach the point where, I don't like to think of on an hourly basis, but I'd like to be getting paid a couple $1,000, $3,000 maybe a week, just doing a set amount of work, and I wouldn't be getting tracked hourly. That's the goal. I'm a third of the way there. But I would like to. That's where I would like to be. Just and maybe I'm thinking small. That's the thing. I should be thinking even grander than that, because the truth matters is there are copywriters that are making bigger bank than that.
So the top copywriters, how much are they making?
You hear numbers thrown around a lot, in the Dan Kennedy's world and stuff. Those type of guys. Charging minimums, if you want to work with them, the contract needs to be $25,000 or $50,000 minimum for the contract, and then you also have to throw a little butter on top, some kind of revenue share on whatever it is they're doing the job for. It's not uncommon to see a copywriter of that caliber make several $100,000 up to $1 million on a contract based on sales and contract alone.
So it gets me curious, that person that's hiring Dan Kennedy, how much is he making from that product he's selling?
You hear a lot, in the copywriting world. We have a friend actually back home who comes top of mind for this, Neville. He always preaches 10x. You always want to 10x whoever you're working for. If you're not confident that you can 10x whatever it is they're trying to do, whether it's opt-ins or dollars, then you shouldn't be taking the contract. That's your goal. So if you want to use that as a baseline, because that's kind of the mantra that I've adopted now, is if I want to, whatever I'm doing for somebody, I want to be able to really show big results, right? Something on a magnitude higher than whatever it is that, when I tackled it, it needs to be a lot bigger. The metrics need to show more. So if you translate that to the Dan Kennedy world, or the big hotshot copywriter world, if they're doing $100,000 contract, they're making their client $1 million.
That's awesome. That's where I want to get.
Yeah.
And that is my goal. All right. September 2017, I'd like to have $1 million.
Yeah.
All right, that's the goal.
Yeah.
We're talking US dollars, not baht,
US
right?
dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, this is crazy, but when I decided my goal was to be a Thai millionaire, which was at the time about 30,000 US. In my mind, it sounded just as outrageous as being a US millionaire.
Yeah.
It was such a big stretch, because I had a couple $100 in my account, and I wasn't making that much, and I was so used to just living as cheaply as possible. The idea of saving up $30,000 in the bank, to me, was it was such a big feat. That it wasn't going to be possible. And as soon as I hit that, I realized, man, okay, if I can hit 50,000, and I remember thinking, because I was in Vietnam at the time, I was in Saigon. I was like, I want to be a Vietnamese dong billionaire, which is 50 grand. And I was like, man, if I can get that, I'll be so freaking happy.
Right.
And when I hit that, I don't even think I wrote a blog post. I don't even think I celebrated. I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm there now. I'm like, now what? Like,
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, 100 grand.
Yeah.
And then now I was like, oh, you know what? Million.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, I think I've stopped trying to inch up now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, because I realize if you can go from pretty much 0 to 30, and then 30 to 50 is logically very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 50 to 100 logically would be easy. So I'm like thinking, well, why set a small goal? Why be like, okay, now I want to have 200,000? Like, why not just say, okay, what's the big goal? What's the 10x goal?
Yeah,
Right.
open the floodgates. Earlier you said it's so hard as a freelancer to double, triple your rate.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, but the only reason that statement is true is because of your mindset. Assuming you have the skill and assuming you have the knowledge to deliver the kind of value that we're talking about, doubling or tripling your rate or making $1 million or making $100 million is all mindset, right? It's all, that's the only thing holding you back is realizing there are clients out there that are willing to pay double or triple your rate. There's clients out there willing to pay 10x your rate. You have to go find those clients, and then you have to find a way to deliver value to those clients, and that's it. That's all it takes.
That absolutely makes sense, because
Yeah.
I remember when I had a job, I was thinking, I was making $5.15 an hour, and then when I got I think as soon as I started making $10 an hour, I was like, man, I've made it. Like, this is it. But I would hear sometimes, of people that made $20 an hour. I was like, there's no freaking way. Who's gonna pay you $20 an hour? That's so much money.
Right.
And now I charge $115 an hour for coaching, for either through Skype or in person. Someone's here in Chiang Mai, and I think I actually put that number up there because I was like, I actually don't want to spend my time doing this because it's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And in that hour I can be doing my own project and I could probably make that much or more, but doing my own thing where I don't want to do it. And so I put that number out there, and it's crazy that probably once a month or twice a month someone's like, okay, that's what that's what he charges. I'm gonna get value from it, so I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
And actually, right after this, in about 40 minutes, I'm meeting a guy at a coffee shop who just signed up for 2 hours.
Wow.
And never in my life did I think I can get away with charging over $100 an hour and actually have it be of value. And that's why actually people not only sign up for it, but I don't feel bad doing it, because to be honest, I almost, when he signed up, and I was like, oh man, I'm so busy today. I have so many things to do, and I'm going to Koh Phangan tomorrow, and I was like, I don't really want to take an hour out of my day to do this. So guaranteed by next year or two, I'm gonna be one of those, I don't want to say those a-holes, but those people who charge $500 an hour because they just don't have the time to sit down with people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's crazy. I'd started out when I first started freelancing, toying with freelancing back between businesses or startups or whatever back in 2007. I set my initial rate, I think, if I remember correctly, at $25 an hour. And I got a lot of graphic design clients at that rate. I did pretty well. I delivered good work. Not necessarily any better or worse work than I do now, if I were to do a graphic design contract. But I think today, if I don't work hourly, but if I were to break my project rates down into hourly, it would probably hover somewhere around $140, $150 an hour, something like that. And I just told this story yesterday at the freelance talk. I recorded a video for one of my ideal clients who I love a lot and I do a lot of work for. And I recorded a video of previous work that I had done in the last few weeks because I thought, man, this work would be really great for this ideal client of mine. I think if I did this for him, he'd get a ton of value out of it. So I recorded a quick video of showing him what I had done for these other clients and why I think it would be a good idea for him to do it as well and hire me to do it. And I basically made it like a package deal. And I sent it over to him and said, hey, look at this. I think you should check it out. I think you should do it. And I'll charge you $3,000 or something to do it. I priced it at $3,000. And before I even had a chance to follow up with him, 3 of his buddies, saw the video. He sent the link without my permission to friends because he's a big influencer or whatever. And they got in touch with me. And when I finally did follow up with him, he said, listen, I want to hire you. You're right. I want this. And so we're working on the contract right now. And he said, but I think you're undercharging me, and I have 3 or 4 guys that I know will do this deal with you, but I want you to double your rate. I'll take double the rate to these guys and tell them that that's what you'll do it for. So
there you go.
And
love it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just a mindset thing. It's just total mindset.
So I'm curious, the video, was it like unlisted on YouTube, or how'd you send it?
I sent it through Dropbox.
Okay.
Yeah. So lately, what I've been doing for clients for like explainer videos, like if I do a project for them and I want to explain like why I did something or show them how something works, or talk them through a piece of copy that I wrote or something, I'll do a screen share. I'll do like a small window of me on webcam in the corner, and then a screen share on like Windows Expression Engine or something like that. And then I'll just save it to Dropbox encoded in WMV format and send the Dropbox link to my client. And Dropbox actually has a video player where it'll play. And so I thought that was kind of private. Like nobody will find this on YouTube. You have to have the link to show it. But of course, I send the link to somebody and he forwards the email to 3 other people. So
that's cool. I think that's a great idea, actually. And in hindsight, that worked out perfect for you, even though that wasn't the intention.
Wasn't the intention at all. Yeah.
Actually, people will send me videos sometimes too, and I love it.
Uh-huh.
I think the only one I hated was this guy made me. So it would have been okay if it was one video, but for whatever reason, his phone would only record like 30 seconds at a time.
Oh no!
So he sent me like 8 back-to-back videos.
Oh no!
Oh no!
But I felt so bad because he put in all this effort to do it, and he had such this story that that he was living with his parents in Canada, and they wanted to kick him out in a month if he didn't make something happen. He didn't know what to do, and it was just so I watched every one of the videos, but I was like, man, this would have been a million times easier if it wasn't chopped up like this.
Yeah.
So the Dropbox video would have been great, and also unlisted YouTube works fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, does it?
I wanted to tell people not to make private YouTube because of cases like this where they do want to send it to a friend who might also help you as well.
Sure.
You might get another client for her, but also mainly because not everybody's email account is going to be associated with that YouTube account. So like, let's say you send it to to my @JohnnyFD, but then my YouTube account is a Gmail account. I can't even watch it.
Yeah.
And you're just going to get that that message archived because people can't get to it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I've loved Dropbox so much for video sharing is that once I encode the video into my Dropbox folder, I don't have to go through the YouTube uploader. I don't have to do any extra steps. Plus, I can revoke access to the video easily by just taking it out of that folder, and it just deletes it off the web. So it's kind of cool.
I like it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Well, Stephanie and Taylor, I'm really glad you two came on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, very welcome. If they need a kick butt copywriter, how can they find both of you?
Right now, I can be reached through my, let's see, what's the best way? I do a lot of stuff privately right now, but I've been setting up a domain, taylorwest.me, TAYLOR west.me. It's got like a draft sales page up that I was just joking around with. It's kind of a funny one for like private clients, but you could hit the link there and email me or schedule like a call with me if you want that way. How about you?
Email. I usually just respond really well to email. So Stephanie.n as in Nicole .simon01@gmail.com.
Stephanie.n.simon. Okay, I'll put
01@gmail.com. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put both of these on the show notes in case anyone wants to contact you. And then, did you mention that you had a blog?
I'm in the process of revamping it. So it'll be when I finish it. It'll be at taylormetric.com.
Will do. And then I think everyone's looking forward to that Austin versus Chiang Mai post.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think that's kind of how I'm going to restart the blog. I've been really inconsistent with my blog over the years. It's just I get distracted, start a business, whatever, and I stop writing. So I have weird stuff on there. I have like startup posts from back when I was working in the startup industry in Austin to like life posts about hitting rock bottom. I mean, I have all kinds of stuff on there. So, but
well, it'd be good to have you launch that again.
Yeah, I hope so.
Sounds
yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
All right. Well, good hanging out with both of you. Everyone, thank you for leaving those 5-star reviews on iTunes. I appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, and I'll see everyone next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.